Yo, what's going on in the hood? How y'all doing?
Kunal here. How's that mic?
Who's on the motherfucking mic? What do we got? What do we got? Who do we got? Yo, dude, do you guys all watch yourself when you do videos? It's like having mirrors in the bedroom when you're banging. Well, except I'm a computer nerd, and so that rarely probably was ever going to happen. But I am here ready to roll. So, guys, what is going on in the hood? What's going on, my friends? I'm really excited to have you guys on. Third week in a row, man. Are we not just crypto shredders or what? We are, and we shall be. So the last couple weeks, all we've heard about is what's going on with the Bitcoin fork, the fork in the road. Has anybody else noticed? So let me tell you something. So as somebody who's, I'm not going to tell you my age, but I'm in between the age of 22 and 35 and a half. If anybody went through 1999, they had this thing called Y2K. Y2K was supposed to be the hugest thing ever. All in 1999 you heard about was that damn Prince song, Party Like It's 1999, and Y2K. And then Y2K came and nothing happened. And it was like, whoa, I thought this was going to take down the world's computers. And it didn't. And it felt like a real letdown because I was ready for destruction, right? A man of honor makes his money in a world of chaos. And there was no chaos. So then the Bitcoin fork came. And all the crypto nerds said, oh my God, the Bitcoin fork is going to come in and it is going to change everything. There's this Bitcoin Cash that's going to come out. The price of Bitcoin is going to fall down or it's going to go up. And the Bitcoin crypto nerd goofy community was split. Then we found out there really is no Bitcoin nerd goofy community that means anything. So the Bitcoin fork comes out, and guess what happens? It's Y2K all over again. A big bunch of nothing. And this is the world we live in, right? The news scares us. All of a sudden, we don't want to put our balls on the kitchen table while speed chopping carrots. We get scared, and we start getting defensive. And all of a sudden, we don't want to trade these. Everybody I talked to said, well, I'm not going to trade these cryptos anymore till the Bitcoin fork comes out and, till we find out what the nerd community is going to say. And guess what fucking happened? A big bunch of nothing. That's nothing. So where are we at right now? Where are we at right now in the world of the coins? We're at the same spot we were before the Bitcoin fork. So let's take a look at these charts and figure out what the next move is, because the Bitcoin fork was a ruse. Okay, it was a ruse. It was a ruse. It was like Scaramucci all over again. He comes in, he's a star, and then there's nothing going, and that was it. The Scaramucci, the mooch. Now that was a legend. He was a guy that actually made real news and real impact for a hot second, because that motherfucker was at least funny. But let's talk about what the heck is going on with Bitcoin now that the fork is in. Guess what? Fork, no fork, who really cares? So as people were thinking about the fork, Bitcoin was at a standstill for quite some time, right? It's really been like this since June 1st. So this is, tell me guys if you guys make sure, let me know if you can see the chart. So around June 1st, we hit 3,000. Then this kind of fork stuff comes about. Porky pork, forky fork. And we come down a little bit, then we just go sideways. And then it was, oh my gosh, what's going to happen once the fork comes up? Well, nothing happened. It hasn't moved at all. So we've got to do what real traders do, guys. Real traders are men of honor. We don't listen to news, and we don't care about fundamentals, right? We trade price. We trade what our eyes tell us. And what our eyes tell us is that nothing has changed, but we have a range. So we have this range here coming right around close to 3,000, give or take a couple shekels, right? I don't even know how this thing got there, but hold on one sec. Remove. Fuckers, right? So we got this range right here. When we break over that range, guess what? Bitcoin is back off to the races. But till that happens, all we're doing is just kind of hanging out under this range. And so there is nothing. There is nothing right now. You can't really short it because it's too strong. And you can't really long it because it's under resistance. It is literally the penis in between us. We are just stuck in this massive range for the last 1 month and 31 days, which actually means 2 months for those of you guys that came from the school of I don't read so good. And so we're just kind of hanging out in here, all right, which is not a bad place to be. It's not a bad place to be. So let's think about this more in terms of common sense, right? Let's think about this more in terms of common sense. You know, the price of Bitcoin, hold on, this damn thing just keeps moving. The price of Bitcoin went from $800 to $3,000 in a very, very short period of time. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, right? And so now it's been sitting around for 2 months and there's all the panic about the fork in the door. But in the end, we're just resting. Anytime you get any instrument, whether it's a stock, a futures market, Bitcoin, Forex, Beanie Babies, any of that stuff, guess what? You need to rest. Stocks, as my man Jua Jitsu, who can't spell right, says, stocks get their power from consolidations and bases. So the longer we hang out below this level, the better it actually ends up being. Because what we're doing here is building up energy. We're just building up energy to allow fresh buyers to come in so that when this level is actually broken, it's really going to be broken. So one of the things that you'll understand about all types of trading is that the longer the consolidation and the longer the pattern, the more powerful the next move is going to be. So the fact that we are here at 1 month and 32 days, which is 2 months for those of you guys that don't read so good, guess what? All that means is that when the next move comes, it's going to be even more explosive. It's going to be even more explosive. So this is how, in general, trading works. If you have a pattern that goes for multiple months, if you've got a pattern that goes for multiple months, when it finally breaks, guess how long it's going to run? Probably for multiple months. That's the essence of what they call it's called a measured move, essentially. So if you've got a 2 month, 1,000 point range, and I'm just making up a number, but it looks give or take about 1,000 points, the pattern, that if it does break, which we don't know if it will, but if it does break, we reasonably can deduct, as mad scientists, that we could get a multi-month range with a potential 1,000 points or more upside, because that's what the pattern is telling us. So when you're thinking about trading and you're always looking at consolidations, look at the bottom of the range, look at the top of the range, add them up, subtract them, add them up, whatever. So the range is about 1,000 points. So if this thing breaks, we have potentially 1,000 points of upside that should run for a couple months. Okay. Now, we don't know if that range is going to go, right? We don't know for sure yet. But what we do know is that the price action is telling us that even with the fork news or whatever, I don't even know if the news is good or bad because who knows how to interpret this stuff. We're still hanging out literally right under highs. It's a couple $100. So what is that on a $3,000 instrument? 6-7%. So we are so close. So right now we're not bearish, but we're definitely not bullish. But the longer term pattern is still really, really positive. Remember that the trend is your friend, right? Riding trends is the quickest way to make money in a market. And when you go counter trend, it is literally like pissing in the wind with your mouth open. For some of you guys, like Europeans, that may be kind of a cool thing to do. But here in America, we frown upon that type of behavior. So we ride trends. And when this breaks, that's our signal. But till that happens, guys, we have really nowhere to go in Bitcoin. Now, the thing is this. Bitcoin is one small aspect of the cryptocurrency market. Bitcoin is not even the funnest currency to trade. You know, if you want to be a true lord, a lord of the manor, a real crypto lord, well, Ethereum gives you the best action to actually trade every day. It's got the volume, it's got the range, and it's not $3,000, right? And so you have the ability to do a lot more stuff with it. So let's take a look at the chart for Ethereum and see if there's some other action going on. So with the Bitcoin being at a standstill and nobody really knowing what's going on with the forkadork, what we can do is take a look at some of the other currencies. So one of the things that you'll notice with Ethereum is that Ethereum's come a long way down. So it went on this huge trend, right? From $710 to $425. And it's been since also June 1st, when Bitcoin, June 2nd, whatever, when Bitcoin started to peak out, this thing has come all the way back down. But what you'll start noticing in this chart is more upside. More upside. So as the money's kind of flown out of Bitcoin recently, what we're starting to see is a little bit of uptick in the Ethereum, which as me, I'm an Ethereum lord. So the Ethereum lords are starting to pile into this thing. So how do we know when a bottom is put into an instrument? The first easiest way to tell is by looking at your moving averages. So for those of you guys that are new, and we spent the last class setting up our charts. So look at the previous YouTube live and you'll understand how to set up these charts and what they all do. But we have these moving averages right here. We've got ourselves a 9 EMA, a 20, and a 50, right? So 20, 50 moving average, 9 EMA. So the first thing is when you're looking at moving averages, they do two things. They act as measures of trend on particular time frames. So your 9 EMA is your short-term time frame. And you can see for about a couple months, right, it was straight down. This is your 9 EMA. And it was acting as a ridge against the Ethereum lord. But what's recently happened over this period of time is the 9 EMA is flattened out. And it's even started to curl a little bit higher. So what that tells you is that on a short-term basis, the Ethereum has bottomed out. And then we also have our 20 SMA, which has also started to go flat. So right now we're starting to see some signs of bottoming out, right? We're starting to see some signs of bottoming out here. The second thing is we measure trend lines and support and resistance. And so recently, right, we broke our trend line that we've been holding down for a period of time, and we started peaking over. So yesterday, once the forkadork was coming loose, this thing went from 190 to 230, which is a monster move, right? That's $40, right? You have 10 shares, you made $400 on this thing without too much investment. So right off the bat, we've come in and we've broken our trend line. And now today we're having a little bit of a rest day, but as long as this trend line holds, this thing is actually still bullish because you have the instrument is above its moving averages and it's above its trend line. So what you have is 3 pieces of support holding it up, which is really, really important. When you have 3 pieces of support, it's like a super support, right? It's a jock strap and a bra combined into one. It's a jabra, which is really the most powerful type of support that can ever be built. And so as long as this support holds, we are good. And so we're starting to build some ranges here that if you start to see them taken out, you can really, really get some action. So you can see here this old high on the Ethereum is 250, right? It's 250, and then you also have your 50 SMA right there. So if this thing starts to build and breaks over 250, now you're full-blown confirmation society that this thing is off to the races, and you could get 300, 400, so on and so forth. But right now, on a short-term basis, this is actually some bullish action. We had a big pop yesterday, that 16, 20% pop, and now we're having a little bit of a rest day, which is totally normal after a big pop. And as long as these levels hold, this thing is very, very bullish. So the first sign we need to see if we're looking at a smaller term price level, right? You can kind of see this 240, and it got close to about 240 yesterday also, seems to be the level. If we break over 240, then we're off to 250. And then if we can do that, it's really, really game on. So for me personally, yesterday I added my first lot of positions into 190s, right? With the stop right under this last low, all right? So as this thing is now starting to build, when I see more patterns trigger, when I see multiple different patterns and setups trigger, now what I can do is start adding to my positions. So how we want to start doing that so we can get exact numbers, right? We start looking at smaller term time frame. So if we go in and look at, say, a 60-minute chart, which is a 1-hour chart, what you'll start to see, right? You're starting to see this bottoming action. And you can see on a finer tone, a smaller term basis, you've got this kind of level of resistance right past it. So now what's happening is, right, we're starting to build. Now, look, if this thing takes a big blumpkin and comes all the way back, that's not good. Then it's probably coming back down to 130. But as long as it can hold this last low and start to build some energy, now that if it can start to build some energy, I think we see that break of 230, 240s, and then it's off to the races. We need to break this 250 like a man of honor, and this thing could get right back to where we're going to go. So these are kind of the different aspects that you always want to look for when you're looking at a particular instrument, right? You've got to look at it on multiple angles, right? What's the daily chart looking like? Then what's a smaller term chart? And start to map out probabilities. Start to map out probabilities of what could happen and what should happen, and then you trade accordingly. So I've got my first lot of positions, right? I've got my first lot, but that's not enough, right? When we're building into a trade, we want to get a big run. And so now I've got one lot here. And then as this thing starts to build and we break our levels, I'm going to start adding more to this and go in for that big, big monster run. So the fork did nothing. Bitcoin's sitting around. But this Ethereum is starting to look like it's got a lot more upside, right? It's still 50% below its old high. But this one's actually starting to move its way higher. Now, there's a million other coins here, but the 3 main ones are Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin. So the Litecoin, the one thing that you'll notice about this one is that it really didn't fall that much. It's still in its trend. And so every single dip is getting bought. And recently this had its dip here too. If this thing can break and close over its MAs, you can see how they're all converging here, which is actually kind of interesting, because if it can break and hold over here, that's going to be your telltale sign that this thing is ready to roll. And you can see here, if we draw a trend line, this thing is close to making its move. Yesterday, see how it just tapped right into it, and then it kind of faded back. But that can happen. Sometimes you got to test these things a little bit, a couple times. But if this thing breaks this level and it can hold here, so give it like a 1 candle, now what's going to happen is you've got yourself confirmation that the next run is starting in the good old Litecoin. So in the end, the fork was just that. It was just a name. It didn't really give us much to deal with just yet. But we have positive price action and some patterns building in all these different instruments so that we can still make some money. So I think, personal opinion, that this market's about to reheat itself soon. It's taking a breather because nothing goes up forever and nothing goes in a straight line. Stocks, currencies, Forex, cryptos, they get their power from those consolidations. They get their power from those bases. And so memorize those trend lines I gave you and those levels and those patterns. When you start to see them trigger, now what's going to happen is you're going to be able to come in at the right time. Because the thing about trading, guys, is dead money is no money. And so while they're not doing anything like this Litecoin, there's no point of getting in. But once it breaks and holds over that trend line, now we are ready to go. So the Ethereum looks ready now. The Litecoin could be ready soon. The Bitcoin needs to get over 3,000 to really show itself. And now we're off to the races. I did last week show about how to make a video on how to set up the accounts and all of that fun stuff. Check the YouTube. It's all there, but of course I can go over it again. Not too afraid of that, but that's kind of where I see this stuff. If you guys have any questions or anything, let me know. And dude, we'll get this thing party started. I'm going to be on here every week talking about this a little bit here, but I definitely wanted to give you kind of a rundown of where I'm going. Romualdo, bro, I use the Coinigy. That's what these charts are on. See this thing? It's called Coinigy. Coinigy, baby. That's an easy charting platform. I like it. You know, it gives me the most bang for the buck. When you're looking at charting, you want to make sure that, you know, you have something that's easy on the eyes and easy to use. Hey, Daniel, yeah, message me. If you got any questions, just email me. And, dude, I'll totally be able to, you know, answer your questions. One of the things, guys, is even next week, I'm going to have this crypto nerd come on with me. We're going to do a Google Hangout together. He's going to be talking about some of the new ICOs, including Unicoin Gold, Tezos, and some of the other ones. His name is Kingsley. He is also an Ethereum lord, but there's going to be some hot ones that are coming out pretty soon. Michael, you know, some of the ones, so let me show you like some of the different ones that are trading. You know, one of the things, so if you're going to trade on GDAX, they don't let you trade some of the penny, the small cap ones. But if you look at Polynex, that's where you can trade some of the smaller ones. Hold on here. Let me get this thing situated. Hold on, I'll bring up the charts. Let me get this thing moving. Google Hangout seems to be taking up some juice. Why is Polynex? See, Polynex, this is the problem. I think Polynex is a Canadian exchange. They always go out. refresh here. Maybe I'm spelling it wrong. Hold on one second, folks. Fucking Polynex. Polynex is, I'm just saying that because TJ's on here. Polynex is the one that you could trade a lot of these smaller currencies. Let me get a little bit of action coming in. Let me log in here. What the fuck? Polynex is unable to handle. The Polo's offline. Oh, man. No wonder. Let me tell you something about these fuckers at Polynex, by the way. Let me just tell you something. So let me tell you a little bit about fucking Polynex, these little scammers. So Polynex, I trade some of the smaller coins at Polynex. So Polynex has this thing on there called USDT. So it means US dollar tether. And I thought it just meant US dollar. So I took like 7,000 US dollars of this profit from Ethereum that I had made. And I was trying to send it to Coinbase because they don't even allow withdrawals on their turd platform. Okay. And so I sent the money over and it literally just disappeared for a period of time. And then it randomly appeared and then it just fucking disappeared again. And then it randomly appeared. And then when it appeared, it was like a different amount of money. They are fucked up. So I left all these Polynex tickets. So they have like this Polynex fresh desk Polynex. And these little turds they don't even answer your tickets. So yeah, I don't even care. You know, it was like they took a couple $1,000s out of the profit, but they like would return like, you know, just random stuff. So I'd be like 16 days ago. Hey, hey, can you give me an update? And before you know it, like they're like, yeah, like they'll just ignore you. So like at 20 days ago, you know, I'm like, hey, I accidentally sent it too. I just hit the wrong button. And I'm like, hey, I didn't realize USDT was USD, trying to send to my Coinbase wallet, blah, blah, blah. Did you get this? And then they just randomly they randomly put like most of the money back. Then they took some of it out, and then they put it back and they put it out. And it was a very, very weird situation because look, nobody still replied back. But that's why I personally keep a good chunk of my trading. So this is what I do. What I want to trade with, this is what I do. So what I want to trade with, I keep at GDAX. So like whatever I need to trade with that day, I'll put in at GDAX. And GDAX has a thing where you can deposit and send from your wallet. And so when I want to send more money to trade in, I'll just withdraw it over. But I'll keep it all within Coinbase. And that actually helps quite a bit because I can wire money back and forth. And then I'll usually send some to Bitfinex or Polynex or so on and so forth. But, you know, I find that GDAX is probably the best one for it. I'll tell you what, GDAX, no matter what you think of them, the one thing is like they, you know, like during the Bitcoin, the Ethereum crash, they like gave everybody their money back. You know, like, you know, they crashed Ethereum to like 10 cents and they gave everybody their money back. So I do have an account at Kraken also and Bitfinex. I try to spread them out. I've been spreading them out for a very, very particular reason. So my go-to wallet is Coinbase. And then what I do is when I want to, say, trade some at GDAX, I'll take some from Coinbase, either coins or cash, and put it in to the GDAX. But I'll usually keep like $5,000 always in GDAX to trade back and forth. Then when I need more, I'll put it in there. And then when I want to trade altcoins, what I'll do is I'll send Ethereum from Coinbase to Polynex, or I'll send Ethereum from Coinbase to Bitfinex. I'll trade it, and then when I'm done with it, I'll put it back into the Coinbase. And that seems to be really the easiest way to kind of handle this because they all have liquidity problems. This is the thing, guys. You got to think about Trump. It's huge. It's amazing. It's wonderful. And you got to think about Scaramucci. Opportunity is made in chaos. And so these brokers are shady as fuck. And there's all these little things going on with them. But that's where the money is made, right? When you have third world rules, what that means is you can kill without getting caught. It's all about just doing whatever it is that you want. You bend the rules, you break the rules, whatever. But within chaos comes opportunity. And that's where it goes in. So you want to spread your money. If you have $3,000, keep them at a couple different accounts, because when one is slow, the other ones seem to work a little bit better. And then when vice versa, when the others. I think that's one of the things. It's just the wild, wild west. And you know what? I've taken a couple lumps trying to figure out the rules and whatever, but who cares? Imagine, I think about this all the time. Anybody watch these Viking shows, like The Last Kingdom or Vikings? Dude, you can just kill and steal and do whatever you want all the time. And that's how the crypto world is with these exchanges. They know that it's medieval times, and it's okay to kill, rape, and do whatever. And so they just do it. And they don't even worry about it. And so we're playing on their rules. We're in 1885 right now. We're in 885 right now, just 800 years after the Christ came in, and there are no rules. And so we're all figuring it out as it goes. But within that chaos comes plunder. And that's where we're at. We're in Viking rules right now with these exchanges. Polynex, big turd. Bitfinex, probably big turd. GDAX, kind of little turd nuggets, though. You know, when you just have too much lettuce and you don't got a pizza turd, but you got more like, hey, I'm on a diet and I'm eating lettuce and you know, arugula all day. That's kind of GDAX right now. But that's okay. You know what? This is the nature of the land we live in right now. Within chaos, there's opportunity. And I think that's really, really important because, look, there's some good things that happen with this stuff. There is some good things that happen with this stuff too. Number one, you can't make this type of return in the stock market. Yeah, you can't make this type of return in the stock market. So you got to protect yourself, but you don't have instruments in the stock market that go from 4 to 56 in a handful of months. And you don't have a return in the stock market where you get something that's like $6, $10 and goes to 400. There is range in these things. They trade 24/7. If you've got a job, you're a nurse, you're a teacher, and you're dealing with all sorts of shenanigans all day, this is the time when you're watching Game of Thrones or doing whatever for the third time, and your husband is trying to create some whoopee with you, and you say, no, this is my crypto time. I shall not be interested in giving my body to you because my mind and soul have gone to the crypto lords. And that's what's going down right now. We have opportunity to make big gains to the upside and downside, but these brokers are a little bit, you know, they're a little bit shady. So with the money comes kind of a little bit of risk. But the advantages are this. You can put in $500 and trade this thing. My first GDAX account, I put $1,500 in. Me and TJ, or his name is not TJ anymore. His name is Jiu-Jitsu Trade. But, you know, we started trading these when this thing started to flag out. And guess what? There was so much opportunity to make money. You know, we started with small accounts and we started to build it up. You know, like in day trading, when I'm trading stocks, you know, I trade with an $85,000 account. Well, most people don't have $85,000 just laying around, right, to day trade stocks. And in day trading stocks, you need $25,000 just to be able to day trade. With the currency, even with the weird customer service and the weird brokers, you know, you can put in $500 in account and day trade it. You know, you can trade it back and forth. And I think that is something that is pretty cool. And the fact that it's open at night and it goes 24/7, there are some advantages for the smaller trader that you don't necessarily get in the stock market. The stock market, it's not just the brokers that are against you. You got the hedge funds, the algos, the really, really smart traders. In crypto, there are no smart traders. There's really, I mean, they have investors and they've got crypto nerds that talk about this stuff, but there's really only a handful of really good day traders running around making cheddar. And so I think that that's something where we'll have to really be mindful of. But, you know, we're going to be talking about some of the different trading patterns that we can do because the market's been dead. Beyond just taking one trade in Ethereum, I haven't done anything in the last week. You know, when this was happening, I was making 10 trades a day because the range was there. And then even when this was happening, you know, we were shorting this and there was trades to be taken every day. But right now, you know, because you're just stuck in this range, I can't day trade this every day. You know, there's not just, they don't have necessarily the range that we need, but it's coming. What you'll see is once you get out of this range right here, you're going to start to see range expansion. Out of consolidations, range expansion comes in where you get bigger candles, and then all of a sudden you're going to get more day trading opportunities. And so what I'll do is I'll keep some of my shares from my original batch and I'll keep adding some as a swing trade, meaning a longer term trade. And then I'll be day trading this every day with a handful of coins, maybe 20 or 30 to catch those kind of $10, $20 rips that will come when the range expands. Let's open this thing up to some questions, guys. I'm also, I'll be traveling the next few days. So if I don't get back to you on email, I'm spending a couple months in Spain. So I'm going to Spain, and then I'm going to Dominican Republic for a while for this speaking thing. Then I'm going to London for a stock conference. So if any guys are living in Europe, let me know. I will come and find you. Oh, let me find. So I can't find you Digibyte yet because Polynex is down. Let me see if they have it on Bitfinex. Hold on. Boom, 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 boom. Let's get into you want Digibyte, you're going to get your Digibyte, buddy. Dun, 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 dun. Let's see here. POL. Well, let me change. So on Coinbase, what happens is when you want to go to like one of the different, you want to see one of the different brokers, you can go in. Okay, Bittrex. I don't use Bittrex, but I'm about to find out. Let's go to a little Bittrex here and get a little data. Okay, Digibyte. Hold on. DGB. Where is this DGB? You know what? I've got two of my good students in Norway right now. Oh, Bittrex. Here it is. My bad. Bittrex has got a lot of these bad boys. All right. Let's go in. We need DGB. Dun, 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 dun. They don't have DGB USD, though. See that? On the left, BTRX. Yeah, I got DGB. It just doesn't have DGB USD. You know what? I haven't used Bittrex before, but I'm going to open an account there today since so many of you guys are using it. But if we're just going in terms of charting, DGB just looks like kind of the little brother of thanks, Heath. Appreciate that. DGB kind of looks just a little bit like Ethereum in that it's just stuck under a range, right? When this thing comes out of this range right here, we'll be good to go. When it comes out of this range here, we'll be good to go. So you don't want to be really doing much with this DGB till it starts moving, right? You know, this thing's been in kind of this epic downtrend too. I'd probably just leave it alone for a little bit till it gets unstuck. Remember, dead money is no money. That's just the nature of the beast here, but we're good to go. I think this one too, if it can come out of the range, you'll start to see its range expand. You just need a little bit of that juice to get it going. Some of these altcoins are fun, but there's a lot of them that are turds. You know, this, you know, me and TJ were trading this, what was it, EOS? And that thing was kind of the same type of thing. You know, if you saw this EOS, it had this really, really hot run, and then it just died. You know, so you can see this thing with EOS. So when EOS IPO'd or ICO'd, right, it was at like 10 cents. And this thing ran from 10 cents to 5.50. So that's a huge run. Like we were day trading this thing originally, and TJ was all over this. This was his account builder. He built his whole account off really this one damn stock. But you'll see, like when it first went live, it opened up, and then like you can see this is where, you know, this was the pattern. When these ICOs happen, if you see this pattern, this is the go. This is with stocks or, you know, coins. When you see a ICO or an IPO, when you pop up hard at the open and you consolidate for a period of time, I usually want to see 3 to 10 candles. I want to see 3 to 10 candles. If you don't, you need a minimum 3 to 10 candles. If you can go and break that first opening range, this becomes a powerful setup. This works very, very well on ICOs. If an ICO is dead when it comes out, just leave it alone. Wait till it has its first pop. And you need to see it pop at least 30 to 50%, I think, to really get to bring in the buyers. So let this thing pop up. This one popped up 100% right off the bat. But what you want to do is wait about 3 to 10 candles and let a range develop. Let a range develop. Once that range develops and you break that first range, what I'll usually do is I'll buy the break of the range and I'll put my stop right under my 9 EMA, and I will play this thing to the upside. And then at that point, you can start buying all the other range breaks and so on and so forth. But this EOS was hot. This is what we call in the industry a mega penis flag. The mega penis is really one of the most powerful ICO setups I've seen. And that's where you get the pop, 3 to 10 candles, and then you break the range. And that's how you handle the ICOs. You can make good money doing this because obviously if it's $1.50, you can buy 1,000 shares and really, really get some juice going. The problem is that, you know, all these things are turds, right? And so they come at some point, they start doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is, right, this thing came all the way back. So I don't even, this thing is back in the pennies now. It's done. It's done for a little bit of time. So you got to be kind of mindful of this. Now, this is the thing that, you know, these things are all turds, but if this thing breaks 2, I think this thing gets going again. Because if you look at this, right, and you're looking at this, look right here. See how like it tapped 2 here? And it tapped it again. And it tapped it again. See like how this 2 ends up being this sweet spot. So when you think about trading, right, you want to look for lines of inflection. You want to look for lines of inflection, meaning where is the line in the sand where if you break above, you release the Kraken, pun intended. For this particular one, it is 2. And so you've come in and tested this level multiple times. So when you have a key level, guys, it is like beating a door down. When you test it, you make it weaker. And then you test it again, you make it weaker. And you test it again, you are beating down that door. And when you finally break above, now you can release the Kraken, pun intended, and start your next run in this. Look, I don't know if this thing's a turd or not. I just look at price action. This is what I believe. If I'm in it and it goes down, it's a turd. If I'm in it and it makes me money, then this thing is manna from the heaven of God, right? That's all I care about is the price action of these things. So it may be a turd. It probably is, hence why it's a buck. But if it can break here, all of a sudden, we could get a run. You could see 253 or so on and so forth. But to get this thing going, what you will need to see is the rest of the major coins start making a run. So, and that could be true. You know, they could be releasing coins every day. I'm just talking more on a price action side. You know, that's how I personally trade this stuff. The fundamentals of it have just no interest for me because I don't invest in this stuff, right? You know, so if I'm not an investor, I'm not going to spend hours reading about it because I only want to spend hours holding it. Crypto is key. I like that moniker. Boom, 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 boom. Hey, RO, where NXT, whereabouts are you trading that one? I normally bring all these things up on my Polynex account, but since you can't get in, what can you do? Let's see if they're back online. Polynex. Okay, you're going Bittrex lifestyle. Man, I'm opening a Bittrex account. I get so many of these accounts, it's hard to remember all your passwords. You got Bitfinex and Polynex, and before you know it, man, you got passwords going to the wazoo. Boom, 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 boom. Da, 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 da. Ch, ch. Hold on, peoples. So are you going NXT BTC? That thing was a lord if you were, you know, in this earlier. See, if you had gotten this thing right here on the trend line break, you would be good to go. But it's hard to chase this thing up right now because it's already back to highs. You know, so I wouldn't be chasing this thing up because it's already up 50%. You know, you got to let this thing flag out and do it. When you look at patterns, you know, once you come out of range, right? So when you look at patterns, once you come out of range, you've released the momentum. But if you're coming in and you're 50, 60, 100% up from where the breakout spot is, it's hard to chase this thing up till another pattern develops because your risk is so high once you start chasing these things up. And so, you know, you got to really time these things well. You know, if you've got this thing at 4 or 5, you're good, right? But if you're trying to buy this thing at 7, it's a no buenos. Hey, Techno, you can trade with us from Norway. Yeah. We don't do any cryptos at the fund, at the hedge fund, though. It's just for stocks. You can't use IB brokers. You can't use any of that stuff. All right, peoples, I got 10 minutes, and then I got to go. I'm leaving for España tomorrow, and I got to make the rounds and say bye to some people. Let me see what we got going out. So, my man Techno, why is that when a stock hits a moving average as support, it flushes down like there was no moving average there? So that's good. So moving averages, guys, serve a couple purposes. Number one is bounce spots or fade spots, but also as periods of trend. But a moving average alone is not a reason to buy something. If that was the case, we would all be billionaires, right? Something comes to moving average, we would just buy it. Trading doesn't work like that. When you think about trading, think about setups. What a setup is a list of conditions that must trigger before a trade is taken. A list of conditions that must show before a trade is taken. So when you talk about a bounce play, a moving average is one part of maybe a dozen that is involved in identifying whether that spot and that moving average is the bounce at that particular moment. It is not just a moving average alone. Otherwise, we would all be loaded. That is one conjunction of it. That's one piece of the puzzle. And so you need to align the trend, the pattern, the volume, the moving averages, everything right into a story. Remember that every trade is a 50-50 shot, guys. Every trade is a 50-50 shot. You buy, you sell. You win, you lose. Something goes up, something goes down. It's a zero-sum game. So if everything is just a coin flip, how do you make money? Well, it goes into narrowing things down into setups, a list of conditions that must trigger before a trade is taken. So for example, like if you're looking at a bounce play, you may look at the bounce and say, okay, I've got a trend line coming down. Pattern is starting to even out at support. My stochastics are turning in my favor. I've got moving averages under support, and my volume pattern is in my favor. And so now I can reasonably take this and put a stop under it and apply this and let it go to the upside. So that's why sometimes moving averages don't work. It's just one piece of the puzzle. Mr. Vaganinem Nagunanim. Oh, man, I just butchered that. As an Indian person, I should not be butchering people's names because people used to call me Camel and Kunal, you motherfucker. That's what my mom calls me. I'm going to call you Vag. Is ETH the most active? No, there are other coins. Litecoin typically does more volume than ETH because it's a little bit cheaper. But I find that ETH has kind of the best mix of range and liquidity together. But Litecoin is really good to trade too. And Bitcoin is good to trade too. It just on most exchanges doesn't do as much volume because it's so expensive. Daniel Parrish, what the secure company trade with for Litecoin? The biggest exchanges are GDAX, Bitfinex, Kraken, and Polynex is one of them, and then Bittrex. So these are kind of like your larger ones. I find that, just using GDAX, their platform stinks, their customer service stinks, the charting is not that good, but it's the easiest to use. And then I just use Coinigy as like my charting supplement. So I find that's kind of like a good base to kind of get started. Balaji, my Indian brother. Balaji, what's going on? Do you plan on doing any other coins like XRP? XRP kind of sucks to trade. Has anybody else noticed that? I think they've just released too many coins. Their float's really big, and it is just awful to trade. Thank you, Intraday. Appreciate that. Milo, what is a hardware wallet? Can't you just keep your money in the Bitcoin broker? You can keep your money in the broker, but as you see sometimes with some of these things, they go dead sometimes. So if you have a big chunk of coin somewhere, sometimes people use a hardware wallet, which is essentially just like in layman's terms, it's just a USB drive you plug in your computer and you can put your coins in there. Even though they're digital, they just stay in your drive, and then you've got your drive. So then if anything happens, you still have your coins. That's kind of the layman's way of talking about it, but it's the easiest to explain in a short class. Hey, Pepe. Yeah, I'll get into that. You can message me, and I've got some videos and stuff that I'll be making for it. Hey, France. A mega stroke. Dude, that sounds dirty. Dude, the Mega Stroke is an amazing name. Oh my God. Taylor, where are you? Dude, the Mega Stroke just makes me think of a guy with two huge hands just cruising. Holy shit. That is the crypto moniker of the year. Oh my God. I'm sorry, man. I don't know. I'm like in third grade, but Mega Stroke is just, it's too epic. Hey, Mike, no plans really for a quick crypto chat room. We may make a Slack channel or something where you guys can hang out and chit chat, and maybe I'll come in for a couple hours a day when the market heats up, but nothing too formal. Hey, Mr. Chips, you know what? I traded small cap stocks for years, guys. I traded those $1, $2 just turd nuggets for years and years when I started Bulls on Wall Street. Guys, I've had Bulls on Wall Street now since 2008. I mean, it's been almost a decade. And when I started with small caps. And trading small caps in the stock market has just sucked of the last 5 years. There's not any money in it. All the small cap stocks are just run up by chat rooms. There's not much range in it. There's actually more money trading $20, $30 stocks than there are those $1 or $2 stocks the last couple years. Cryptocurrency, I think, kind of gets you that action like small caps used to give, but, you know, without, you know, some of the shenanigans. Dude, where's the mega stroke? By the way, mega stroke, answer your question. They do have stop losses at the crypto brokers. Hey, thanks, man. Yeah, chat with traders, man. He's a good guy. It's so easy to do an interview, and the guy that's interviewing you is Australian because he's got this soothing voice. He's like, "Good day, mates. That's not a knife. That's a knife." Right? And you're just like, yes, dude, keep talking. I just think of Crocodile Dundee as soon as I have it. Hey, Afgama, rewatch the video. In the beginning of the video, I kind of talked about what we need to see for the bigger coins that go up. Right now, they're just consolidating. And but rewatch the video. Let me know if you have any questions. But they're starting to shape up for their next move. Dude, mega stroke. It's so epic. All right, peoples. Oh, shit. Guys, I got to get going, man. I've got plane to catch in the morning, and I'm going to still be trading. I'll be doing this. I'll be back live Wednesday, 5 p.m. Hopefully, the market will start to pick up, and then we'll have some trades to talk about and some setups. If I see some action forming, I'll make a quick video on the Bulls on Wall Street YouTube. I'll make a quick video on what we need to see to take a trade in them. I'm already long some ETH, and I'm looking to kind of, you know, add a little bit more once this thing shapes up. In cryptos, techno, I only use 15 minutes when I'm day trading, not 5, because the range is just too big. You'll get stopped out a lot if you use 5-minute charts. That's what I've found has been happening. In stock market, you get more liquidity, so it's just easier to use 5-minute charts. But in cryptos, I go 15, so I can get the bigger chunks. Guys, it's been real. It's been fast. Mega stroke, you are the fucking MVP today. I love it. Guys, I am honored for you guys to just keep showing up and let me talk nonsense. It truly is a great passion. This is the passion of my life. So I love coming on and talking to you guys. This is all I've thought about and done since I was an adult, this trade. It was stocks for all those years, and now we are in the wild, wild west. It's 885 Viking style, crypto world currency lifestyle. There's a lot of opportunity here, and guess what? We are probably not in the first inning, but we're probably in the second inning of what's going to be a long run. So I look forward to seeing you guys next week. I have posted my email in here, and you guys message me if you ever have any questions, you want to talk or need help with your trading. I've got thousands of students all over the world. If you email me, I wouldn't even know, right, if you were a student or not. I answer every single email I get. So always message me, and I will see everybody Wednesday, 5 p.m. sharp. I'll be broadcasting from España, and dude, we're going to have some fun. Peace. In the Middle East. That's an old 80s term.